Hello, everyone. Since there were a lot of questions about some of the decks that I use, both here on Instagram and also on my website, um, I decided to make this short overview of my favorite decks. That I use daily, and some of them I use more often than the others. Some lend themselves more useful and practical for daily practice than the others. Some of them I just purely love for their aesthetic value. But nevertheless, it has always been important to me to have the tools that are a joy to use, not just for divination cards, but with everything else in life. Yes, I just wanted to provide some of the details on the cards that I have here, and this is just again a small selection of them. I haven't done the inventory in quite some time of all of the cards that I have, but this is really the selection of the cards I use most of the time and that I enjoy using. So let's begin with the tarots. My favorite deck to use for reading tarot cards is the Jean Noblet tarot. And I have actually several versions of it that I use. The first one that I ever got for the Jean Noblet is the one from Jean-Claude Flornoy. He is unfortunately no longer with us. However, his wife continues his work. So she's still selling the tarot decks, or actually his reconstructed Jean Noblet tarot. So this is the full deck, for example. As you can see, it's very convenient in size, although the cardstock is a little bit thicker, which is not a very bad thing in itself. I mean, the cards will last you a long time. However, it may be a little bit more difficult to shuffle. Nevertheless, these are the backs, like a very standard old pattern. And the colors that have been used are really, really well done. I would have to say it was a good choice. They are pleasant to look at, and I like using it very much. From Jean-Claude Flornoy, I am using, if I'm only using the major arcana, which I use most of the time, just the majors for daily readings. Although I have to say I never do like a daily card. I find that a complete nonsense. But for the daily 3 card draws for any questions that I might have, I use usually the majors, and this is the hand stenciled deck of the Jean Noblet, and it's very, very pretty. I love the colors so much. I mean, it's not to be compared with the factory made full deck. This is really a joy to use, I have to say, and maybe the deck that I use most of the time. And also, as you can see, the backs are designed slightly differently. It's like a more particular. It's a design done with more attention, of course, and I really, really like to use it. Next to that, of course, then we go to the next version of the Jean Noblet. Is this one? It's like a gold gilded Jean Noblet tarot. And this is actually the reproduction of the original version held in the National Library in France. And this one has been reproduced by Cartomancy, by lovely Agnes. and I really enjoy all the decks that she is producing. I also have her Oswald Wirth tarot. I will get to it in a second. So as you can see, this is really nice gilding with gold foil. And they are also a little bit smaller than the full deck of Jean Noblet from Jean-Claude Fournoy. Also very convenient to use. And if you are really hung on the authenticity, this is like the oldest version of it. The colors that were used, as you can see, the cardstock is also amazing quality. It will last you a long time. So I will be, of course, linking all of the card producers in the description, and so that you can also explore it for yourselves, or order them if you want. I have to just give a notice here. This is by no means a paid advertisement for any of these decks. I really enjoy using these decks, and that's and I recommend them from my open heart. It really is not a collaboration by any means. So I already mentioned the cartogram version of Jean Noblet, and from Agnes from Cartogram, I also have the Oswald Wirth Tarot. So this is also a lovely deck. Again, there are versions of the full deck made by Los Carabeo, but that is not an original version, because as far as we know, Oswald Wirth never created a full deck for this deck. He only created the majors. And as you can see, they are really lovely. They also had gold gilding at the beginning, but I think I used them so much at some point that the gilding worn off for the most of it. Yeah, so but I really enjoyed using this as well, and I use it still until today. And some of the readings on my blog feature this deck as well, and I have also gotten questions about it. So yes, this is the Oswald Wirth tarot, reproduced by Agnes at Cartogram. So feel free to go and check it out. Then we have, from my beloved mentor, Camelia Elias. This is my limited edition version of Baka Tarot. So this is a Japanese-inspired tarot, which also contains some of the poker cards, let's put it like that, or cards that represent some maneuvers in poker game. So next to the standard 22 major arcana cards, you would also get a card like check. Let's see here, the card raise. So these are all the moves, let's put it like that, in the game of poker, and of course fold and the call. So this deck is really minimalistic, of course. Comes in black and white, but I really love using it, and it really resonates with me, and I really cannot recommend it enough, especially because of those 4 extra cards from the poker. This was a limited edition, which also came with a very nice sigil talisman, or actually a calligraphy talisman, and Now it's available, I think, to order like a factory produced version, which is nonetheless, as from what I could see from some other acquaintances that have ordered it, it's also very good quality. So I will link it as well. Yes, so that was Baka Tarot by Camellia Elias. And now we have also one of the tarots that I love so much, and this is from the Sopraffino Tarot by Il Menagelo. And Il Menagelo is a small producer of cards from Milano, Italy, and they really do a great job on the cards. This is really amazing. As you can see, the cards are really made to look and have like a vintage feel to them, but the colors are really fantastic. I mean, Lo Scarabeo produced some versions of it, called it different names, but I mean, look, the visuals are really stunning, and the visuals really stunning, and the colors used are really adorable. It's a true joy to use it. Lo Scarabeo made some versions of it, but I mean, those are really mass produced, and I mean, there is not a lot of attention to detail in those decks. So this one is really, really wonderful, and I cannot recommend it enough as well. It's really, really good. So that was Sopraffino Tarot. Also one that I no longer use so much because it's very cumbersome, it's very big, but it's beautifully done. It's a Tarot Noir by, I believe the designer is Mathieu Haquery. No, Mathieu Haquier, sorry. I think I apologize, Mathieu Haquier. He created this the Tarot Noir. It's really, really fantastic. As you can see, the feel is a little bit dark, of course. It's Tarot Noir, but it's really, really, really pretty. So I mean, it's nice to use maybe for like a small draw of 3 cards. As you can see, it's also kind of like a gilded. It has golden edges, but it's pretty. Unfortunately, it's a little bit cumbersome, so that's the only downside to it. Nevertheless, I really love the design. So those were the tarots. Now for the playing cards. I have several decks. So of course, you saw in the previous video, you saw this deck from Dondorf. Dondorf was a German producer of playing cards up until 1933, and as it was a Jewish-owned business at that point, and because of the rise of the Nazi regime in Germany, they went out of business, but they created some beautiful, beautiful decks, and until this day, I think their playing card decks are unparalleled in quality, the beauty of the print, the beauty of colors, the design. It's unmatched, really unmatched. The artisanal quality of those decks. I mean, you simply see that nobody, pays any attention today anymore when it comes to creating good quality playing cards. So they are really sought after. You can only get them in some auctions nowadays on eBay. I had the luck to get two beautiful decks in an auction. One actually I got from just a regular seller on Etsy. The other one was in an auction on eBay. But the one that I presented in the video on the grand tableau with playing cards is this deck. Actually, it's called Whist numbered 122, and from what I could deduct, sadly, that it doesn't have any tax stamp. Usually they do have a tax stamp from that time, but this one doesn't. So the closest that the seller could come to was somewhere around 1920s that the deck was produced. We don't know for sure. But it was in a lovely condition, and as you can see, this was also like a trademark of the German producers of playing cards at that time. They had golden corners, and on this one you can still see the golden corners. And was very lucky to get a deck whose golden corners survived up until this day. And as you can see, I mean the images are so pretty, and I really love using it. I use it now when I read a reduced deck of 32 cards for a tableau. When it comes to another Dondorf deck, this one is actually one from the 19th century, the end of the 19th century. I was also very lucky to get it. And on this one, you can see some indication of the golden corners. It's worn off for the better part, but the deck is still in great shape, and especially it coming from a 19th century, it's an amazing quality. And look at the back. The back is also beautiful. I mean, it's pageantry when it comes to design. I love it so much. And I mean, also look at the design of the court cards. This one also I love even more because it doesn't have indexes. It's index free, and I don't know, it may be my OCD, but I love it so much because of that. So that was the Dondorf's Whist number 148. I took a look a few days ago if I could find another version of it somewhere online, just maybe to get some backup, or maybe get a different color back of the card. But I couldn't find it anymore, and so I guess I was just simply lucky to find this one and to grab it before anybody else did. I really love it so much. Then a Piatnik playing cards deck, also without indexes. This one is also very old. I got it from a seller in UK, I guess. Through eBay, and it's also for this one we couldn't find. There is actually a stamp, and from that we could deduce that the deck was somewhere between 1918 and 1930. So in that time period, beginning of the 20th century, also still in great shape. I mean, you can see that it is an old deck, but it's so beautiful. I love it also so much. I use it often enough when I'm using a full deck of playing cards instead of the reduced one. But you can see, I mean, the designs also. I mean, that people paid more attention or artisans paid more attention when creating playing cards. And back at the time, it was just something that doesn't. It is just something that doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately. So, if you want to have a nice playing cards deck, you have to be, hunting for antiques. There is nothing else to do, unfortunately. Now, so those were my favorite playing card decks, and now for the Lenormand decks that I use regularly. So this is something called, I think it was called a Leipzig Lenormand, but you couldn't really, or it is referred most of the time to as Leipzig Lenormand. It's very small. I believe the cards are 7 centimeters long. So it's actually very handy to use if you are pulling out a Grand Tableau, which is one of the best openings for Lenormand, that's for sure. And but nevertheless, this is the box that it came in. It's also an older deck, a vintage deck. It's called Kartenspiel der berühmten Wahrsagerin, Mademoiselle Lenormand in Paris. Yeah, so which would, sorry for butchering the German, but that would translate, so like a card deck of the famous fortune teller Miss Lenormand in Paris. So this is just, it doesn't have like a formal name, just like Miss Lenormand's deck of cards, which is also very interesting. There is no historical evidence that, even though Madame Lenormand or Mademoiselle Lenormand was a historic figure, she existed and was actually a famous cartomancer in Paris, but there is no historic evidence that she created this deck, used this deck by any means. Someone was just riding on the coattails of her fame. Let's put it like that. As far as we know, she only used playing cards to tell the future, or to perform divination. So she used playing cards, as far as we know, and this was the German, actually a deck that most probably originated in Germany. It was called Game of Hope, and there were many versions of it, of course, printed in that time, and up until this day. It had a renaissance of several years ago. I mean, pretty much outside of the Germany and maybe Benelux area, Netherlands, Belgium. It wasn't really a famous deck. But then it got rediscovered further in the States and the UK and the rest of Europe, and so now it's very popular. And this is the a deck that has been published by Verlag für die Frau, or like Publishing for Women, in Leipzig in 1982. This is also. This is actually an older deck. This is a deck that comes, I believe, from the 19th century. However, this one is a reproduction from 1982, from Leipzig. And as you can see, it also has some stunning visuals. I really like it, and like it's a very traditional cardstock. I mean, it's not a glossy paper or anything. So I mean, it's not modern by any means, but I also don't like modern designs for the cards. They usually read tacky. So yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm set in my ways when it comes to this. I like older designs, so this is one of my go-to decks for sure. And another one. Now this is, I believe, the most popular deck in the Netherlands, and which is Jeu Lenormand. It's produced by Cartomancy, a Belgian producer. As you can see, the backs are really not that attractive, I have to say. The colors are a little bit like, hurting your eyes almost, especially the color combination of this, tavern tablecloth, let's put it like that. But I like the designs. I mean, this is again a reproduction of a much older deck, but it is by Cartamundi for sure, and it has been very popular in France and Belgium and in the Netherlands. And they do have they have some insets, as you can see. They have inset, the playing card inset, but which is traditional for all of the Lenormand playing card, most of the Lenormand card decks. They have a playing card inset, but this one also has like a small, like a verse that denotes a meaning. This one is in Dutch, and there is also, as far as I know, a French version and an English version of the deck. I personally don't refer so much to these these traditional meanings when it comes to Lenormand, especially that they are positional based. So actually, near and far method is used to say, okay, this card is very lucky if it's near, but if it's far away, I mean, it denotes bad luck. Or if this card is very close to you, then this is a very bad sign. If it's far away from your significator, then it's a good sign. I don't use that much. So nevertheless, I use the deck a lot. I use it a lot. It's very convenient to use, and I don't know. There is still something about the visuals in this deck that I like. So yes, those were all of the decks. Again, as I said, I will link the decks in the description below. This took a little bit longer than I expected it to take, but I mean, I'm sorry, I really love to talk about these beautiful decks, and I really use them a lot, and I hope it inspires you to acquire some decks that you like as well. And let me know in the comments what are your favorite decks? What do you like to use daily, and why? Why specifically? I always like to learn about the other people's practices. So thank you for your attention, and enjoy your day.